everybody, this is Desiree with Whisper Creek Designs, and today we are making the Sunburst Coaster, which is crocheted. Right now we are just starting our first loop, which is called a slip knot. So you want to start with your yellow yarn and make a slip knot and chain 5. If you don't know how to make the slip knot, if you go back and just watch it in slow motion, or if you pause it as you do the steps, that would be helpful. I hope you're all doing well today. There's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the first chain, I'm going to insert the hook, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the last loop on the hook. And that makes our ring. And then we start row 1. So row 1 we're going to chain 1, yarning over and pulling through again. Sorry, that's a little out of focus. Do it again and try to get it in focus. Okay. Chain 1, there's chain 1, and then insert hook into the ring and make 1 single crochet in the ring. You can see that the tail is being held to the side and I'm just crocheting over it. You can do that, or you can just leave it out and weave it in after. For this one, it'll save you a little bit of time weaving it in. So we got 1, 2 on there. You can count the little V shapes of the top of the stitches. That's 1, 2. Making 3. And we're going to make 10. So there's 3, 4, 5. And I moved the tail, so the rest of it I'll just weave in at the end. 6, 7 single crochets in the ring. 8, and just scooching the stitches over to make a little bit more space. 9, and 10. I'm going to make a slip stitched join. So we have the first chain we made is there, and then this is you want to do a slip stitch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's the stitch we're going to stitch into. And you're going to go underneath both of the loops. Some patterns will have you just go under the first loop, or just go under the front loop, or just go under the back loop. But for this pattern, we're going under both the loops. And pull through, and pull through. Sometimes they're a little bit snug, but if you wiggle the hook a little bit, it will help it get through. And there's round 1 done. So we're starting round 2. I'm going to chain 1. And in the same stitches join, so the same stitch we just slip stitched, make 2 single crochets. So 1, and 2. This will help make an increase that helps it stay like a flat circle. If you didn't do the 2 stitches, it would start going up like a tube. There's 2 in there. In the next stitch, make 1 single crochet. So 1, still going under both the loops. Repeat around. making 2 single crochets in the next stitch and 1 single crochet in the next stitch until you reach the beginning single crochet. So we're just going to repeat that going around. So this one's gonna have 1, and then this one's gonna have 2, in the same one, there's 1, and in that same stitch, 2, and work my stitches for this pattern pretty snugly so that they stay flat and tight. If you work them a little bit looser, that's fine too. It just won't, it'll be a little bit wider of a coaster. I'm pulling through. Awesome. Now when you get to the end of the round, I'm gonna go just checking around to count. 1, 2, 1, 2. And so that is our first stitch of the row that we are going to connect to. So is the topmost one. Sometimes it looks like you would connect to the next one down, but that's your chain 1 to start the round. Alright, row 3, chain 1. And same thing as last round, in the same stitch that we joined, there's going to be 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And in the next 2 stitches, there's going to be 1 single crochet each. So 1. And 1, and then the next stitch will be 2. So each row you go out, you increase by 1 extra single crochet in between each 2 stitch areas, and that helps keep it from like rippling up or wrinkling up. If you have too many of those stitches in there, then it'll start getting like very wrinkly and there'll be too much yarn in that space. So it's important to, for a flat circle, to keep those even. So there's the one with 2 stitches, and then a single stitch, and then this one will be 2 again. So if you ever lose track of where you are, you can go back and go, okay, this stitch had 2 in it, and then count 1, 2, and then you know that the next one has 2. I hope you're all doing well today, and So as you get the pattern down for the row, it goes a little faster once you practice. And especially if you're going to make like a set for somebody, a set of coasters, then you'll get a lot of practice. And these techniques are good for so many different things. So pretty much anything you want to make that has a circle or a ball shape, like if you're going to do the amigurumi with like the little stuffed animals, they use this type of increase and decrease. If you're going to make a pot holder, anything like that, then you'll know how to do the increase and increase for a circle. So we're just going to do the slip stitch in the beginning single crochet, and that will be the end of row 3, and then we're going to change colors to the orange. So pulling through. I like crochet a lot because you can see your progress very quickly. Knitting is somewhat like that, but the shape of crochet, for me anyway, I can see the progress a lot faster with different shapes. Okay, so we're going to pull the new yarn through. You don't have to make a knot. We're just going to tighten that last stitch of the yellow row down and hold the tail end of the orange behind, and make sure you're working with your new color end that connects to the ball. Alright, we chained 1. If the yellow loosens up, you can always tighten it back down. These strands will be woven in at the end after you're finished with the piece, so they'll just hang out in the back while we work on it. Alright, 2 single crochets in the same stitch as join. And then in the next 3 stitches, so last row we did 2 stitches for single crochet, and now this time we do 3 stitches for single crochet. And then I am going to work the variation with the spike stitch. So with the spike stitch, we're going to go, instead of 3 stitches in a row, you're going to do 1 regular single crochet, 1 spike stitch, which is going down into the next row, and then 1 normal single crochet. And that makes the spike stitch, which gives a little color contrast in between the 2 rows. And then of course the next stitch is going to be 2 single crochets in the same stitch. 1 and 2. Alright, so we're going to do that repeat again. 1 regular single crochet. If you're not doing the spike stitch row, in this next stitch just do a normal single crochet. If you are doing the spike stitch, go ahead and make that one there, and then another regular one. And then it's very satisfying to see the progress there. And then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And we'll repeat that around. See the pattern with the spike stitch appearing. We're just over halfway around. Spike stitch. Normal single crochet. 2 single crochets, and one more. You can see we have 3 stitches left. One more single crochet, a spike stitch, and a single crochet, and then that row will be done after we do the finish there. Okay, now we're gonna do a slip stitch in our starting single crochet under both the loops. Alright, and you can kind of flatten it out and you can see the first row of the color change. And it's already starting to look like a little sunburst. And the tail end of the yellow, just tighten that up a little bit to keep the orange one in there and keep it all secure. There we go. Alright, and row 5. Excuse me. Just making sure you have the working end. Chain 1, 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then we're going to go no spike stitches in this round. It's all just going to be single crochets, but it's going to be 4 stitches and then a double stitch. Okay, 2 single crochets in this one. And then 4 single crochets. Three, 4, and then another 2 single crochets. And what you could do if you wanted to is, if you wanted to just make this size, like if you end after this row, it would make a great little, like a decoration for a hair clip or a little keychain or a little mini coaster, or you could put it under like a tea light candle. So at this point it's only I think about 2.5 inches across. So it's just super cute. You could also make like a little zipper pull too. You add a little sunshine around. Or if you made this with like a white and a blue and ended here, it would be a cute little snowflake. You could make like a little snowflake garland, or like a little accessory for gift tags at Christmas time. There's just a lot of options you can do with this. And they, once you practice it, they work out pretty quickly. And it's a nice surprise for somebody. Alright, we're going to slip stitch in the first chain of the row. Alright, and there is round 5 done. Now we have one more row of orange. So we'll stay with orange. Round 6. We chained 1, 2 single crochets in the same space as our join. And we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets in between doubles. So 5 single crochets and then 2 in the same stitch. 4, 5. Right, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then we'll do 5 more single crochets, 1 in each. Four, 5, you can see where the double stitch is. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then next one is a double. And 5 again. Four and 5 and double. And 5, 1, 2, five, and 2, and last 5, and join with the slip stitch in our beginning. Here. Beginning chain 1. Beginning single crochet, not in the chain. Right, yarn over, loop through again. Second loop through usually gives you more of a problem. If you loosen up the thread in your finger a little bit, sometimes that'll help. Alright, and then after each round, just kind of stretch it into the shape it is. We're going to change to the pink yarn. Pulling through, leaving a 6-inch tail and tightening up the orange strand, making sure you have the working yarn, and chain 1. I love this color combination. It's meant to be the sunrise. Excuse me. It's meant to be the sunrise. I love this color combination. It's meant to be the sunrise or sunset. But I love the beautiful colors in the sky. When it's evening sometimes, my husband is putting the dogs away and he's like, Desiree, come out here and look at the sky. And it's always something magnificent. The clouds are amazing, the colors are amazing, and I was like, oh, thank you, baby. So this round we're doing the spike stitch again. If you don't want to do the spike stitch, just make a regular single crochet. We have regular, spike, regular. And then we're going to do regular, spike, regular again before we do the double stitch in the same place. Here. So regular. And then 2 in here. 2. Nice. Spike stitch, or just regular around, 1, spike stitch, another one, and then repeat, 1, spike stitch, another one, and then double again. We're already almost halfway around. If you're not doing the spike stitch, it will be 6 and then 2 in 1 stitch, 6 and 2 in 1 stitch. Two in 1 stitch. Nice, it's coming together. You can see where the little sunbursts happen with the colors overlapping just a bit with the spike stitch. And you could do the same pattern and use like white, teal, and like a darker blue for a bigger snowflake, or if you use different types of greens and made sure to have the spike stitch, it would look like a cactus. Like if you had like a yellow or pink in the middle for the flower, and then you had a light green then a dark green on the outside, that would look like a cactus, resemble a cactus, and that would be a cute summer coaster too. A lot of different options. And it depends what's available too, because you could use the same pattern if you have scrap yarn around, or you just have little bits, and it'll help overlap the color. Or, just going in rounds. You don't have to do every 3 rounds do a color change. If you only have enough yarn to do 1 round, like maybe you have enough to do the middle 3, and then you only have enough to do 2 rounds of the other color, you could do that and then do the same color change wherever you're at. You don't have to do it at the end of a row, although that helps. Alright, the spike stitch row is done. We're going to chain 1. And 2 single crochets in our same stitch as join. And this is row 8. which is our last row. So this one is going to be 7 stitches in between each 2 stitch. Sometimes you might notice that my yarn goes through only a few of the strands, and if that happens, just back it up and carefully put it through, because if you keep going, it'll get snagged up a little bit. Okay. Ooh. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. So the next one is going to be our 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then 7 again. And then 2 single crochets. And 7 again. And then 2 single crochets. When I see these, I'm reminded of the sunrise and the sunset and God's faithfulness in that, because He brings every new day, He brings every new morning, no matter what happens. He's always with us. So close. Five, 6, 7, and then just that last slip stitch and join, yarn over and pull through. Nice. You can flatten it out. If you stretch out the edge stitches just a little bit, they'll lay flat, and as you use it, it'll keep its shape more too. This one is not in the pattern, but if you want to do one more round, so you have even numbers of rows, the 3, 3, 3 there. Go around, and instead of doing 7 in between, we're going to do 8 in between. If you end up doing any other sizes or color variations, please send me a picture, because I love to see what everybody comes up with. double in the same stitch, and then 8, 1, 2, 3, Comment if you know the reference. 6, 7, and 8, and then 2 single crochets to turn the corner. And as of making this video, I think we have 21 kits available still on the website, which includes all the yarn. It includes your hook, it includes the written pattern and the written devotional. The devotional is about creation and how God created us, and He puts that desire to create inside us. It also includes seasonal tea. I think this one is Tezo Orange. And it's just nice to be able to have, have your tea, have a little afternoon or an evening. Create something that you can use and you can share. So if you learn to do this, teach somebody else. Somebody in your house, or a friend, or a neighbor kid, pray about what God wants you to do with that. Maybe He's gonna have you make a bunch to give to a retirement home, or talk to a friend about how God created them. There's a lot of endless ways God can use you to bless somebody else. We just have to keep our hearts and our minds open to Him as He speaks through His Word. And it's done! So as you start to inform it a little bit, it'll be more and more the flat coaster. You could also steam iron these, I think, but my recommendation would be, if you want it super flat, you take a piece of cardboard that's a little bit bigger and some sewing pins, get it wet, and then pin it into the flat shape you want, and it will, when it dries, it's going to be exactly how you pinned it, because it's cotton, and it will keep, it'll still be flexible, but it'll be very dried into that shape. So if you want it really, really flat, there's an option there. Alright, we're just finishing. I just cut it, and then, chain 2, trim it, and then you just pull both the knots together, and that tightens it up. So, the only thing left to do, we've got to weave in our ends. This is the bane of any knitter or crocheter's existence, is weaving in the ends. Some people don't mind it. I'm not a huge fan. It's not terrible, but not my favorite thing. If you have a show to watch or a book to listen to on tape, that's a good option. Just giving it a little flat in there. And I love how the colors play with each other. I love how the colors look with all the different... I love how the colors intertwine there. Alright, so you're going to take your tapestry needle, which is also included in the kit, if you do get the kit. If you don't, you could get one with the bigger needle, but for the small stitches, the smaller eye is good. Wow, that's a mess. I'm just going to tighten up the end a little bit. Actually just folding the yarn over a little bit so it will go through the eye a little better. Oh, there we go. Okay. Ah, what a pain. So I got 2 through, and I'm just going to put those 2 through by themselves. Because they're all frayed and they're getting to be a pain. This also teaches patience to some point. Okay. Alright, so now that we have both of them through, you can kind of ease it. And since it's bunchy, I'm just going to straighten it out before we try to weave in the end here. There we go. And you want at least a 6-inch tail. You can leave a longer tail if you want to. And then just folding the knot. And we're just going to help tuck the knot in so it's not as noticeable. And weaving the ends in this way will help it not fray so much. So you can see like the knot is very flush to the edge now and it's not sticking out anymore. So you want to just keep going through kind of how the yarn is going naturally and go different directions so that if the item is in use for a coaster, this isn't as important, but if you had a sweater or anything you're wearing, this would also be the same way. You would work the tail back into the work here, into the fabric of the yarn. So you go one way for a while and then turn and go the other way for a few stitches, and that helps it keep from unweaving by itself. And after you have it pretty secure, front looks good, you can trim it. That's the hardest one because it has the knot in there to kind of try to tuck down. And make sure not to cut your project, just cut the loose yarn. You can kind of fray the end and then you can barely see it. It's right there. But it's very flush, and then we do the rest. That's all there is to it. Well, thank you so much for crocheting with me today. I hope you learned something. I hope that I was able to teach you some skills for your next project. I hope you get to do this, and I hope you know that God created you, you are loved, and I pray that you seek Him. I'll pray for you today before you go. Dear Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you for your wisdom in creation. Thank you for making the whole earth, the whole world, and everybody in it, and all the creatures. And thank you for making the sky beautiful, your morning new every day. Please help me to glorify you through these videos. Please bless those who watch it. Anybody watching it today, just bless them and help them to know how much you love them and that you created them. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you again. Bye.